Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hopefully by now you are knocking out those goals out of the park, and hopefully you watched my last episode where I provided tools and tips to support you in making 2020 your best year yet. Today, I want to talk about the meaning of spirituality. At the end of the day, whatever spirituality means to you is what matters and not what society has classified it to be. For example, I was raised Catholic. I was raised in a Catholic household. I went to Catholic school. I read the Bible, the Ten Commandments, right? Everything that is associated with being Catholic. Now, as I grew older and started my journey of transformation, which then led me on this journey of spirituality in 2011, I started to realize that some of the teachings of religion just didn't work for me, right? And they may work for you, and that's okay. But I had to check in with everything that I had learned, that I had experienced, the lessons that were coming to me in life. I had to really check in and see, the Ten Commandments, these holidays, does that really work for me? And it didn't. Deep down in my soul, in my being, it just did not feel right. And so I started reading something called A Course in Miracles and started being open to other forms of spirituality, right? And so some people may joke and say, oh, spirituality is clearing your chakras and Reiki and buying crystals and kumbaya. No. For me, spirituality means that we are coming back to our natural state. What do I mean by that? So as you guys know, I grew up in a very abusive household and left home at age 16 because I felt like my life was in danger and entered the New York foster care system. There was a lot of anger. There was a lot of anger, a lot of feelings that I was experiencing through that part of my life. And so as I started doing the inner work, transformation, self-development, I realized that everything had happened for me and not to me, right? And so there's a saying that I really, really love. God will not bring you to it if he cannot bring you through it. And I didn't understand that at the time as a teenager because I was stuck in my pain, right? But later on in life, I realized, yes, everything happened for me, which is why I do the work as a life coach, as a motivational speaker, facilitator, and the work that I love doing as a foster care advocate. Had I not experienced what I experienced as a child and my experience in the foster care system, I wouldn't be doing the work that I do now. And so for me, spirituality means connecting to my purpose, connecting to my soul purpose, why I'm here. And so I wanted to get very clear on what that means because I know a lot of you are following me. A lot of you may have different religious backgrounds, religious beliefs, and that's okay. I don't want to scare anybody off, and I'm not trying to persuade anyone in changing their belief system. If you're religious, if you're not, whatever works for you is what matters and what's important. For me, my religion is spirituality, which means that I seek God in everything that I do, right? And so sometimes as you're watching my channel, you will notice I will use the word God interchangeably, meaning you'll hear me say God, the Holy Spirit, or spirits, or the universe. To me, they all mean the same thing. Depending on what I am talking about, you'll hear me use different terms, right? And so for me, spirituality is the essence of who I am. I am a spiritual being. It is my belief that we are souls here having a human experience. We have come here for a purpose. We have come here to be in service, whatever it is, whatever natural gifts God has given you. It is, and again, this is my belief, it is your responsibility, if you choose to share those gifts with the world, right? And so for me, I didn't realize that I was a writer. For so many years, I remember being in elementary school and I would write things and my teachers would say, oh my God, you're an amazing writer. And then when I would go home, I was told, you're not a writer, that's stupid, you can't make a living. And the idea was just dropped, right? Without even exploring the possibility. But I'm grateful that I attracted amazing people in my life as I grew older in life who showed me, yes, you know what? You are a writer, and you need to be sharing your work with the world, right? And so I have an amazing friend named Angela who was actually the person who showed me that I am a writer. I remember sharing a piece of writing with her and being open to receiving her feedback around the piece that I had written and the fact that I was a writer. And I remember thinking to myself, me, a writer? No. I remember writing as a child and being told that I wasn't, right? So between what was being told to me at home and being told to me in school, I was a bit confused, and so I just dropped the idea. And so I'm grateful that I had someone in my life who saw something that I hadn't seen and that I was open to the feedback, right? And so I love cooking, but cooking I share with friends and family. Maybe in the future I'll do a cooking show, maybe cooking through healing through cooking. I don't know yet. But the point I'm trying to make is I have many different gifts and talents that are God-given. And my responsibility is to be able to share that with the world, right? My story, that's why I'm doing this YouTube channel. That's why I try to find different ways in which I can support individuals in their journey of transformation. Why? Because I've been there. I've been there and I have been on the other side, right? There is light at the end of the tunnel. Think about whatever hardship that you have been through and think about how that experience can support other people who've experienced something similar. Going back to our gifts, we all have God-given gifts and we are here to share with the world. Are you still with me? Okay, so going back to spirituality, for me, I seek God, Spirit, the universe in everything I do, right? And my experience is that we live in a world where it is very easy to get caught up in what I call the matrix, what I call the norms of society. People are usually following others instead of creating new trends or making their own movement, right? And I'm not saying that's everybody in the world, but my experience growing up, I remember feeling like, okay, so am I supposed to do what everybody's doing? Exactly what they're doing, whether it's social media, whether it's how to start a business. At the end of the day, I seek God first when I'm looking to create the life that I want and looking to create impact and make decisions in my life. That's what's worked for me. Because no matter how bad things may have been, or no matter how severe situations in my life have been, God has always pulled me through. I know in the mix of going through something difficult, it is hard to believe or have faith that you're going to get through it. But like I said before, if God has brought you to it, He will bring you through it. And I am living proof of that. And so, again, going back to whatever belief system that you have been raised in, if it works for you, great. If you like it, I love it. If you feel in your being, in your mind, body, and spirit that it just does not resonate, it does not feel right, it is not something that you no longer believe, it's okay. It is okay to change your mind and to adopt another form of religion or beliefs or practices. Or if you feel like you don't want to be bothered with any of it, that's okay too. At the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you and what resonates in your being, in your spirit, right? That's going to support you in navigating through life as joyful and loving and powerful being that you are. And here's another thing I want to share. So I did a podcast a couple of months ago, and I remember being asked, well, how has your experience shaped you, right? How are you able to be so loving and joyful? And so here's the thing that I've learned. Our experiences, my trauma that I experienced as a child, at the end of the day, our trauma or life experiences that we have endured is what will propel us in life. And the trauma that we've been through, for me, is a reminder. It's kind of like a reminder of where we get to go back to, meaning who we are. For example, I was very, very angry when I entered the New York foster care system. I hated my parents. There was so much rage, but that's not who I am. It is my belief that the essence of who we are is love. And so when we experience trauma, it is our responsibility to do the inner work to get back to our natural state, which is love. And that, for me, is what spirituality is. And so I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and please feel free to share your beliefs, any comments you have, any questions. My challenge to you this week is to think about the belief system that you were raised inside of. Ask yourself, does it still work for me? Ask yourself if it resonates. Ask yourself whether or not you are still adopting this belief system or these practices because of your parents or because it's what someone else wants you to do. Really check in and see whether or not it's what works for you. Because at the end of the day, it's your life, and what you want matters. Know that, believe that. I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.